Do you want to successfully complete the CompTIA Network Plus exam? Then you are in the right place. Welcome to MyITCerts.com, where thousands of students have found their path to exam success. Our website provides completely free access to over 300 practice questions with detailed explanations and comprehensive study guides covering every exam objective. Everything you need for success on your first attempt for free. In this video, we will cover questions from networking fundamentals, network implementations, network operations, network security, and network troubleshooting. So, let's get started. 1. A company stores sensitive customer financial data on its servers. To protect this data from unauthorized access, if a server's hard drive is stolen or improperly decommissioned, what security measures should be implemented specifically for the data stored on the drives? A. Strong network firewall rules. B. Encryption of data at rest. C. Multi-factor authentication for server access. D. Regular vulnerability scanning. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. Encryption of data at rest. Explanation. Option B is correct because encryption of data at rest protects the data on storage media like hard drives. If a drive is physically stolen, the encrypted data remains unreadable without the decryption key, directly addressing the threat of physical theft. Option A, strong network firewall rules, is incorrect because firewalls protect data in transit over the network, not data on a physically stolen drive. Option C, multi-factor authentication for server access, is incorrect because MFA secures login access to the live system, but does not protect the data if the drive itself is removed. Option D, regular vulnerability scanning, is incorrect because it identifies potential weaknesses in software, but does not directly protect the stored data on a drive. 2. When a user logs into their online banking portal, after entering their password, they are prompted to enter a one-time code sent to their mobile phone via SMS or generated by an authenticator app. This is an example of which security concept? A. Single sign-on, SSO. B. Role-based access control, RBAC. C. Multi-factor authentication, MFA. D. Symmetric key encryption. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Multi-factor authentication, MFA. Explanation. Option C is correct because multi-factor authentication, MFA, requires a user to provide 2 or more verification factors. This scenario uses something you know, the password, and something you have, the one-time code on the phone, which is the definition of MFA. Option A, single sign-on, SSO, is incorrect because SSO allows a user to log in once to access multiple different services. Option B, role-based access control, RBAC, is incorrect because it is a model for assigning permissions based on a user's job role. Option D, symmetric key encryption, is incorrect because it is a cryptographic method using a single key for both encryption and decryption. Three, a company uses a centralized service to manage user identities and control their access to various network resources like file shares, printers, and VPNs. When a user attempts to access the VPN concentrator communicates with this central service to verify the user's credentials and authorize access. Which of the following protocols is commonly used for such centralized network access authentication, authorization, and accounting? AAA. A. SNMP, Simple Network Management Protocol. B. Radius, Remote Authentication, Dial-in User Service. C. HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. D. DHCP, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Radius, Remote Authentication, Dial-in User Service. Explanation. Option B is correct because Radius is the industry standard protocol for providing centralized authentication, authorization, and accounting, AAA services for network access, including VPNs, wireless networks, and switches. Option A, SNMP, Simple Network Management Protocol, is incorrect because it is used for monitoring and managing network devices. Option C, HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, is incorrect because it is the protocol for web communication. Option D, DHCP, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, is incorrect because it is used for automatically assigning IP addresses to devices. Four. An organization has a policy that states employees should only be granted the minimum level of access and permissions necessary to perform their specific job duties. For example, a marketing specialist should not have administrative rights to financial servers. What is this security principle called? A. Defense in depth. B. Least privilege. C. Open security model. D. Security through obscurity. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. Least privilege. Explanation. Option B is correct because the principle of least privilege dictates that a user should be given only the minimum set of permissions required to perform their job functions. This minimizes the potential damage from a compromised account or insider threat. Option A, defense in depth, is incorrect because it refers to the strategy of layering multiple security controls. Option C, open security model, is incorrect because it generally implies fewer, not more, restrictions. Option D, security through obscurity, is incorrect because it relies on secrecy as a security measure, which is not a robust principle. Five. A company is setting up a secure web server for online transactions. They obtain a digital certificate from a trusted public certificate authority, CA. When a user's browser connects to the server, the browser uses this certificate to verify the server's identity and establish an encrypted HTTPS session. This system of CAs, certificates, and validation processes is known as what? A. Key Distribution Center, KDC. B. Public Key Infrastructure, PKI. C. Web of Trust, DAIN. Secure Hashing Algorithm, SHA. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Public Key Infrastructure, PKI. Explanation. Option B is correct because Public Key Infrastructure, PKI, is the comprehensive framework of policies, roles, and technologies required to create, manage, distribute, and revoke digital certificates. It is the foundation of trust for HTTPS and many other secure communications. Option A, Key Distribution Center, KDC, is incorrect because it is a component of the Kerberos authentication system. Option C, Web of Trust, WOT, is incorrect because it is a decentralized trust model where users vouch for each other, unlike the hierarchical CA model of PKI. Option D, Secure Hashing Algorithm, SHA, is incorrect because it is a cryptographic hash function used within digital certificates, not the entire infrastructure. 6. A small startup deploys an internal web application. To enable HTTPS, the administrator generates their own SSL TLS certificate without involving a public certificate authority. When employees access this internal site, their browsers display a warning message about an untrusted certificate, which they are instructed to bypass. What type of certificate is being used here? A. A wildcard certificate. B. An extended validation EV certificate. C. A self-signed certificate. D. A publicly trusted CA-issued certificate. Do you know the answer? Correct answer: C. A self-signed certificate. Explanation: Option C is correct because a self-signed certificate is one that is signed by its own creator rather than a trusted public certificate authority. Because browsers do not have a built-in trust for the creator, they present a security warning to the user. Option A, a wildcard certificate, is incorrect because it is a type of public certificate that can secure multiple subdomains. Option B, an extended validation EV certificate, is incorrect because it is a high-assurance certificate issued by a public CA. Option D, a publicly trusted CA-issued certificate, is incorrect because it would not generate a trust warning in browsers. 7. A network administrator wants to set up a decoy system that looks like a vulnerable server with interesting but fake data. The goal is to attract and observe attackers, learn their techniques, and gather threat intelligence without putting actual production systems at risk. What is this type of deception technology called? A. A firewall. B. An intrusion prevention system, IPS. C. A honeypot. D. A VPN concentrator. Do you know the answer? Correct answer: C. A honeypot. Explanation: Option C is correct because a honeypot is a security system designed to be a decoy. It is intentionally made to look vulnerable to attract attackers, allowing security teams to monitor their activities and gather intelligence in a safe, isolated environment. Option A, a firewall, is incorrect because it is a device that filters network traffic based on a set of rules. Option B, an intrusion prevention system, IPS, is incorrect because it is a system that actively detects and blocks malicious network traffic. Option D, a VPN concentrator, is incorrect because it is a device used to terminate VPN tunnels for remote access. 8. A software bug in a web server application allows an attacker to send a specially crafted HTTP request that crashes the server, making the website unavailable to legitimate users. In this scenario, the software bug is the underscore. The specially crafted request is the underscore, and the website unavailability is an impact on its underscore. A. Threat, risk, integrity. B. Vulnerability, exploit, availability. C. Exploit, vulnerability, confidentiality. D. Risk, threat, availability. Do you know the answer? Correct answer: B. Vulnerability, exploit, availability. Explanation: Option B is correct. A vulnerability is a weakness, the bug. An exploit is the code or method used to take advantage of the vulnerability, the request. An impact on availability means the service is not accessible to legitimate users. These terms align perfectly with the scenario. Option A, threat, risk, integrity, is incorrect because the terms are misaligned. Option C, exploit, vulnerability, confidentiality, is incorrect because it confuses exploit and vulnerability and misidentifies the impact. Option D, risk, threat, availability, is incorrect because it misaligns the initial terms. 9. A company processes credit card payments for its online store. They must adhere to a specific set of security standards designed to protect cardholder data, including requirements for network segmentation, access control, and data encryption. Which industry regulation or standard are they most likely required to comply with? A. GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation. B. HIPAA, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. C. PCI DSS, Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard. D. SOX, Sarbanes-Oxley Act. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. PCI DSS, Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard. Explanation. Option C is correct because the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard, PCI DSS, is the specific regulation that mandates security controls for any organization that stores, processes, or transmits cardholder data. Option A, GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, is incorrect because it is a broad data privacy law for EU citizens, not specific to payment cards. Option B, HIPAA, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, is incorrect because it is a U.S. regulation concerning protected health information. Option D, SOX, Sarbanes-Oxley Act, is incorrect because it is a U.S. regulation concerning financial reporting and corporate governance. 10. A manufacturing plant uses a network to connect its industrial control systems, ICS, and supervisory control and data acquisition, SCADA, systems, which manage physical processes like assembly lines and chemical mixing. This network has very different security priorities and operational requirements compared to the corporate IT network. For example, uptime is paramount, and some systems use legacy protocols. What is this type of specialized network environment often referred to as? A. A guest wireless network. B. An operational technology, OT network. C. A bring your own device, BYOD network. D. A standard enterprise, a LAN. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. An operational technology, OT network. Explanation. Option B is correct because an operational technology, OT network, is the term used for the computing and communication systems that manage and control industrial operations. This is distinct from information technology, IT networks, which handle business data. Option A, a guest wireless network, is incorrect because it provides internet access to visitors. Option C, a bring your own device, BYOD network, is incorrect because it pertains to policies for personal devices in a corporate IT environment. Option D, a standard enterprise LAN, is incorrect because the scenario describes a specialized industrial environment, not a typical office LAN. (11) An attacker launches an attack by sending a massive flood of SYN packets from many different compromised computers, a botnet, to a company's web server. The server attempts to respond to each SYN request, exhausting its resources and becoming unable to handle legitimate connection requests, making the website inaccessible. What type of network attack is this? A. ARP poisoning, B. VLAN hopping, C. Distributed denial of service, DDoS, D. MAC flooding. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Distributed denial of service, DDoS. Explanation: Option C is correct because a distributed denial of service, DDoS attack, involves using a multitude of compromised systems, a botnet, to overwhelm a target with traffic. A SYN flood is a classic DDoS technique that exhausts a server's connection state table, preventing it from accepting new, legitimate connections. Option A, ARP poisoning, is incorrect because it is a local network attack that manipulates MAC to IP address mappings. Option B, VLAN hopping, is incorrect because it is an attack to gain access to unauthorized VLANs. Option D, MAC flooding, is incorrect because it is an attack that targets the MAC address table of a network switch. 12. A network technician notices that a switch's MAC address table is filling up rapidly with an enormous number of different MAC addresses, many of which are not legitimate devices on the network. As a result, the switch starts behaving like a hub, broadcasting all frames out of all ports, allowing an attacker on the same segment to sniff traffic. What attack is most likely occurring? A. DNS poisoning. B. MAC flooding. C. A SYN flood. DOS attack. D. VLAN hopping. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. MAC flooding. Explanation: Option B is correct because a MAC flooding attack specifically targets the limited memory of a switch's CAM table. By sending frames with many different spoofed source MAC addresses, the attacker overflows the table, causing the switch to enter a fail-open mode where it broadcasts all frames to all ports, thus compromising network confidentiality. Option A, DNS poisoning, is incorrect because it is an attack that corrupts DNS resolution data. Option C, a SYN flood. DOS attack is incorrect because it targets a server's resources, not a switch's MAC table. Option D, VLAN hopping, is incorrect because it is an attack to cross VLAN boundaries. 13. An attacker on the local network sends specially crafted ARP reply packets to a victim computer, falsely associating the IP address of the default gateway with the attacker's own MAC address. As a result, traffic from the victim computer intended for the internet is unknowingly sent to the attacker's machine first. What type of attack is this? A. MAC spoofing. B. IP spoofing. C. ARP poisoning. Or ARP spoofing. D. DHCP starvation. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. ARP poisoning. Or ARP spoofing. Explanation: Option C is correct because ARP poisoning is an attack where falsified ARP messages are sent to associate an attacker's MAC address with the IP address of a legitimate device, such as the default gateway. This redirects traffic through the attacker's machine, enabling an on-path, man-in-the-middle attack. Option A, MAC spoofing, is incorrect because it is the act of changing a device's MAC address, which is a component of, but not the entire ARP poisoning attack. Option B and IP spoofing is incorrect because it involves forging the source IP address in a packet. Option D, DHCP starvation, is incorrect because it is an attack that exhausts a DHCP server's pool of available IP addresses. 14. Users report that when they try to visit their bank's legitimate website, www.mybank.com, they are sometimes redirected to a fraudulent website that looks identical and attempts to steal their login credentials. The attacker achieved this by corrupting the DNS records on a vulnerable DNS server that the users resolvers query. What type of attack is this? A. URL hijacking. Typo squatting. B. DNS poisoning. or DNS cache poisoning/spoofing. C. Cross-site scripting, MyITCerts. D. SQL injection. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer: B. DNS poisoning or DNS cache poisoning, spoofing. Explanation: option B is correct because DNS poisoning is an attack where false information is fed into a DNS resolver's cache, causing it to return an incorrect, malicious IP address for a legitimate domain name. This effectively hijacks user sessions and redirects them to fake sites. Option A, URL hijacking, typo squatting, is incorrect because it relies on users making a typo in the URL, not on corrupted DNS records. Option C, cross-site scripting, XSS, is incorrect because it is an attack that injects malicious scripts into a legitimate website. Option D, SQL injection, is incorrect because it is an attack that targets the database backend of a web application. (15) An attacker sits between a user and a legitimate web service, intercepting and potentially altering the communication between them without their knowledge. The attacker might relay messages, making both parties believe they are communicating directly with each other. What is the general term for this type of attack? A. Replay attack. B. On-path attack, formerly man-in-the-middle attack. C. Brute force attack. D. Session hijacking. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer: B. On-path attack, formerly man-in-the-middle attack. Explanation: option B is correct because an on-path attack is precisely when an attacker secretly positions themselves in the communication path between two parties. This allows the attacker to intercept, read, and potentially modify all traffic flowing between them. Option A, replay attack, is incorrect because it involves capturing and retransmitting valid data, but not necessarily altering it in real time. Option C, brute force attack, is incorrect because it is a method of guessing credentials through trial and error. Option D, session hijacking, is incorrect because it involves taking over an already authenticated user session. (16) A network administrator discovers an unauthorized wireless access point connected to a spare port on a company switch. This AP is configured with no security and could allow anyone within range to access the internal corporate network. What is this unauthorized AP called? A. An evil twin. B. A rogue access point. C. A captive portal. D. A wireless bridge. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer: B. A rogue access point. Explanation: option B is correct because a rogue access point is any wireless AP connected to a network without the authorization of the network administrator. They are a major security threat because they often bypass network security controls like firewalls and NAC. Option A, an evil twin, is incorrect because it is a specific type of rogue AP that impersonates a legitimate one to trick users. Option C, a captive portal, is incorrect because it is a web-based authentication method for guest networks. Option D, a wireless bridge, is incorrect because it is a device used to connect two wired network segments over a wireless link. 17. An attacker sets up a fraudulent Wi-Fi access point in a coffee shop with an SSID that is identical or very similar to the coffee shop's legitimate Wi-Fi network, for example, coffeeshop_Wi-Fi versus C0 feeshop_Wi-Fi. Unsuspecting users connect to the attacker's AP, allowing the attacker to intercept their internet traffic. What is this type of malicious access point called? A. A rogue AP. B. A wireless intrusion prevention system. WIPS. C. An evil twin. D. A honeypot AP. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. An evil twin. Explanation. Option C is correct because an evil twin is a fraudulent access point that mimics a legitimate one to deceive users. By connecting to the evil twin, users unknowingly route their traffic through the attacker's system, allowing for eavesdropping and on-path attacks. Option A, a rogue AP, is incorrect because it is a general term for any unauthorized AP. An evil twin is a specific malicious type. Option B, a wireless intrusion prevention system, WIPS, is incorrect because it is a security system that detects and mitigates wireless threats like evil twins. Option D, a honeypot AP, is incorrect because it is a decoy AP set up by defenders to study attackers, not by attackers to trap users. 18. An employee receives an email that appears to be from their bank, urging them to click a link to verify their account details due to a supposed security breach. The link, however, leads to a fake website designed to steal their login credentials. What type of social engineering attack is this? A. Tailgating. B. Dumpster diving. C. Phishing. D. Shoulder surfing. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Phishing. Explanation. Option C is correct because phishing is a form of social engineering where an attacker sends fraudulent communications, typically email, disguised as coming from a reputable source. The goal is to trick the recipient into revealing sensitive information or deploying malware. Option A, tailgating, is incorrect because it is a physical security breach, where an unauthorized person follows an authorized one into a restricted area. Option B, dumpster diving, is incorrect because it involves searching through trash for sensitive information. Option D, shoulder surfing, is incorrect because it involves directly observing someone as they enter their credentials. 19. A network administrator is securing a new switch. As a basic security measure, they change the default administrative username and password, disable any interfaces not currently in use, and turn off services like Telnet and HTTP if HTTPS and SSH are available and sufficient. What is this overall process of reducing a device's attack surface called? A. Network segmentation. B. Device hardening. C. Vulnerability scanning. D. Penetration testing. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Device hardening. Explanation. Option B is correct because device hardening is the process of securing a device by minimizing its attack surface. This involves implementing various security measures, like changing defaults, disabling unused ports and services, and applying patches to reduce potential vulnerabilities. Option A, network segmentation, is incorrect because it is the practice of dividing a network into smaller, isolated zones. Option C, vulnerability scanning, is incorrect because it is the process of identifying weaknesses, not fixing them. Option D, penetration testing, is incorrect because it is the process of actively trying to exploit vulnerabilities to test security. 20. A company wants to ensure that only authorized and compliant devices, For example, corporate laptops with up-to-date antivirus can connect to its internal wired network. When a device plugs into a switch port, it must first authenticate, and its security posture is checked before being granted full network access. Which technology is commonly used to enforce this level of access control at the switch port? A. Spanning Tree Protocol, STP. B. Network Address Translation, NAT. C. Network Access Control, and then NAC using 802.1x, D. Quality of Service, QoS. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Network Access Control, NAC, using 802.1x. Explanation. Option C is correct because Network Access Control, NAC, often implemented with the 802.1x standard, is a solution that enforces security policies on devices seeking to access network resources. It can perform authentication and check the device's security posture, for example, patch-level antivirus status, before granting access. Option A, Spanning Tree Protocol, STP, is incorrect because it is a protocol to prevent Layer 2 loops. Option B, Network Address Translation, NAT, is incorrect because it is a method for translating IP addresses. Option D, Quality of Service, QoS, is incorrect because it is a method for prioritizing network traffic. 21. A network administrator configures a switch port so that only the first 2 MAC addresses learned on that port are allowed to send traffic. If a third, different MAC address attempts to send traffic through that port, the port will automatically shut down. Which switch security feature is being described here? A. DHCP snooping. B. Dynamic ARP inspection, DAI. C. Port security, with a MAC address limit and shutdown violation mode. D. 802.1q tagging. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Port security, with a MAC address limit and shutdown violation mode. Explanation. Option C is correct because port security is a switch feature that allows an administrator to limit the number of MAC addresses allowed on a specific port. Setting the maximum to 2 and the violation mode to shutdown perfectly matches the scenario described. Option A, DHCP snooping, is incorrect because it is a security feature that filters untrusted DHCP messages. Option B, Dynamic ARP inspection, thus DAI, is incorrect because it is a security feature that validates ARP packets. Option D, 802.1 Q tagging is incorrect because it is the standard used for implementing VLANs on a trunk link. (22) A firewall is configured with rules that permit or deny traffic based on source IP address, destination IP address, source port number, destination port number, and protocol type, for example, TCP, UDP, ICMP. What are these sets of rules commonly called? A. Routing tables. B. MAC address. Tables. C. Access control lists. ARP and ACLs. D. NAT policies. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. Access control lists. ACLs. Explanation. Option C is correct because access control lists, ACLs, are ordered lists of permit or deny statements that filter traffic based on various criteria, including IP addresses, port numbers, and protocols. They are the fundamental building blocks of firewall policies. Option A, routing tables, are incorrect because they are used to make forwarding decisions for packets, not to filter them. Option B, MAC address tables, are incorrect because they are used by Layer 2 switches to forward frames. Option D, NAT policies, are incorrect because they define rules for network address translation. 23. A company wants to block employees from accessing certain categories of websites, such as social media, online gaming, and sites known to host malware during work hours. Which security feature, often implemented on a firewall or dedicated web security gateway, would be used to achieve this based on website categories or specific URLs? A. Intrusion Detection System, IDS. B. URL filtering / content filtering. C. Stateful Packet Inspection, SPI. D. VPN tunneling. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B. URL filtering. Content filtering. Explanation. Option B is correct because URL and content filtering are features designed to control access to web content. They allow administrators to create policies that block or allow access to websites based on their URL, domain, or predefined categories, like social media, news, malware. Option A, Intrusion Detection System, IDS, is incorrect because it is designed to detect malicious activity signatures, not to enforce web access policies by category. Option C, Stateful Packet Inspection, SPI, is incorrect because it is a firewall technique for tracking connection states, not for categorizing web content. Option D, VPN tunneling, is incorrect because it is used for creating secure, encrypted connections. 24. A company designs its network with a special perimeter network segment that is isolated from the internal trusted network, but accessible from the untrusted internet. Public-facing servers like web servers, email servers, and DNS servers are placed in this segment. What is this perimeter network segment commonly called? A. A honeynet. B. A virtual private network, VPN. C. A screened subnet or demilitarized zone, DMZ. D. An intranet. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. A screened subnet or demilitarized zone, DMZ. Explanation. Option C is correct because a demilitarized zone, DMZ, or screened subnet, is a perimeter network that hosts public-facing services. It is isolated by firewalls from both the untrusted external internet and the trusted internal network, providing a layer of security. Option A honeynet, is incorrect because it is a network of decoy systems designed to attract attackers. Option B, a virtual private network, VPN, is incorrect because it is a technology for secure remote access. Option D, an intranet, is incorrect because it is the private, internal network that the DMZ is designed to protect. 25. A company implements an identity management system where employees log in once with their corporate credentials, and then they can access multiple different cloud applications, like Office 365, Salesforce, and Slack, without having to log in to each one separately. This system often uses protocols like SAML. What is this authentication scheme called? A. Multi-factor authentication, MFA. B. Single sign-on, SSO. C. Token-based authentication. D. Radius authentication. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Single sign-on, SSO. Explanation. Option B is correct because single sign-on, SSO, is an authentication scheme that allows a user to log in once and gain access to multiple independent systems without being prompted to log in again. This enhances user experience and centralizes access control. Option A, multi-factor authentication, MFA, is incorrect because it refers to using multiple types of credentials for a single login, which can be part of an SSO system but is not the system itself. Option C, token-based authentication, is incorrect because it is a mechanism often used to implement SSO, but SSO is the name of the overall scheme. Option D, radius authentication, is incorrect because it is a specific AAA protocol, typically used for network device access, not web-based SSO for cloud apps. 26. A network security team is conducting an audit. They need to ensure that if a user changes roles within the company, their access rights to network resources are updated accordingly, granting new permissions required for the new role and revoking permissions no longer needed. Which access control model is most directly aligned with managing permissions based on job functions or responsibilities? A. Discretionary access control, DAC. B. Mandatory access control, MAC. C. Role-based access control, RBAC. D. Attribute-based access control. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. Role-based access control, RBAC. Explanation. Option C is correct because role-based access control, RBAC, is an access control model where permissions are assigned to roles, and users are then assigned to those roles. This makes it easy to manage access rights by simply changing a user's role when their job function changes. Option A, discretionary access control, DAC, is incorrect because it allows the owner of a resource to control who has access to it. Option B, mandatory access control, MAC, is incorrect because it is a stricter model based on security labels, typically used in government and military systems. Option D, attribute-based access control, ABAC, is incorrect because it is a more dynamic model that uses attributes of the user, resource, and environment to make access decisions. 27. A company is implementing physical security for its main data center. They install biometric scanners at the entrance that require employees to scan their fingerprint for entry. This is an example of verifying identity based on which authentication factor? A. Something you know, for example, a password. B. Something you have, for example, a smart card. C. Something you are, for example, a biometric characteristic. D. Somewhere you are, for example, geolocation. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. C. Something you are, for example, a biometric characteristic. Explanation. Option C is correct because this authentication factor category includes any unique physiological or behavioral characteristic of a person. A fingerprint is a classic example of a physiological biometric used for authentication. Option A, something you know, is incorrect because it refers to secret knowledge, like a password or PIN. Option B, something you have, is incorrect because it refers to a physical object, like a token or a phone. Option D, somewhere you are, is incorrect because it refers to location-based authentication. 28. A company uses a cloud-based application. They want to restrict access to this application so that users can only log in if they are physically located within the company's office premises or connecting from an approved IP address range. If a user tries to log in from an unrecognized geographic location or IP, access is denied. What is this location-based access control policy called? A. Time-based access control. B. Geofencing. C. Content filtering. And D. Data loss prevention, DLP. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. Geofencing. Explanation. Option B is correct because geofencing is the use of a virtual geographic boundary to control access to services. By defining the company's approved IP ranges or physical locations as the fence, the policy can deny access to anyone attempting to connect from outside that boundary. Option A, time-based access control, is incorrect because it restricts access based on the time of day, not location. Option C, content filtering, is incorrect because it blocks access to certain types of web content. Option D, data loss prevention, DLP, is incorrect because it is a technology that aims to prevent sensitive data from leaving the network. (29) An attacker gains access to a switch and configures a port to act as a trunk port. They then send frames tagged with different VLAN IDs, allowing them to send and receive traffic on VLANs they are not authorized to access. What type of network attack is this? A. MAC flooding. B. ARP spoofing. C. VLAN hopping. Specifically, switch spoofing or double tagging. D. DNS tunneling. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. VLAN hopping. Specifically, switch spoofing or double tagging. Explanation. Option C is correct because VLAN hopping is the general term for an attack that allows an attacker to access traffic on VLANs they are not a member of. The scenario describes a specific technique called switch spoofing, where an attacker tricks a switch into creating a trunk link. Option A, MAC flooding, is incorrect because it is an attack to overwhelm a switch's MAC address table. Option B, ARP spoofing, is incorrect because it is an attack that manipulates ARP tables on a local network. Option D, DNS tunneling, is incorrect because it is a technique for exfiltrating data using DNS queries. (30) A new employee connects their personal, unmanaged wireless router to an active network port in their office to get better Wi-Fi signal for their own devices. This router starts issuing IP addresses from its own DHCP server, potentially conflicting with the corporate DHCP server and causing connectivity issues for other users on that network segment. What type of rogue device/service has been introduced? A. A rogue firewall. B. A rogue DNS server. C. A rogue DHCP server. D. A rogue radius server. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. A rogue DHCP server. Explanation. Option C is correct because a rogue DHCP server is any unauthorized DHCP server on the network. The consumer-grade wireless router connected by the employee is acting as one, and it can cause significant disruption by issuing incorrect or conflicting IP address information to legitimate network clients. Option A, a rogue firewall, is incorrect because the device is providing DHCP services, not primarily filtering traffic. Option B, a rogue DNS server, is incorrect because while the router might also offer DNS, its primary disruptive function described is DHCP. Option D, a rogue radius server, is incorrect because this type of router would not act as a radius server. Struggling with your IT certification exams? We've all been there. Welcome to MyITCerts.com, your ultimate resource for IT exam success. Find over 15,000 plus questions and answers. Join our thriving community of over 10,000 plus active students and the impressive 100% success rate with our premium exam support. Visit MyITCerts.com today and take first step towards guarantee success. 31. An attacker sends an email to an HR employee impersonating the CEO. The email urgently requests a list of all employee names, social security numbers, and bank account details for a confidential audit. The HR employee, feeling pressured by the supposed authority of the CEO, complies and sends the sensitive information. This is a specific type of phishing attack that targets high-profile individuals or those with privileged access. What is it often called? A. Vishing, voice phishing. B. Smishing, SMS phishing. C. Whaling or spear, phishing targeting executives. D. Farming? Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. Whaling or spear. Phishing. Targeting executives. Explanation. Option C is correct because whaling is a highly targeted form of spear phishing aimed at senior executives or other high-value targets within an organization. By impersonating a figure of authority like the CEO, the attacker increases the likelihood of success. Option A, vishing, voice phishing, is incorrect because it is phishing conducted over the phone. Option B, smishing, SMS phishing, is incorrect because it is phishing conducted via text message. Option D, farming, is incorrect because it involves redirecting users from legitimate websites to fraudulent ones through technical means like DNS poisoning. (32) An attacker gains access to a company's network. They install software on a server that encrypts all the files on that server and connected network shares. The attacker then demands a payment, often in cryptocurrency, in exchange for the decryption key to restore access to the files. What type of malware is this? A. Spyware. B. Adware. C. Ransomware. D. A Trojan horse. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. Ransomware. Explanation. Option C is correct because ransomware is a type of malicious software that encrypts parts of victims' files and holds them hostage. The attacker demands a ransom payment in exchange for the decryption key needed to restore the files. Option A, spyware, is incorrect because it is designed to secretly gather information from a system. Option B, adware, is incorrect because it is designed to display unwanted advertisements. Option D, a Trojan horse, is incorrect because it is malware disguised as legitimate software and can be used to deliver ransomware, but it is not the ransomware itself. 33. A company wants to restrict access to its guest Wi-Fi network. They decide that only devices whose MAC addresses have been pre-registered and approved by IT should be allowed to connect. When a device attempts to connect, its MAC address is checked against this approved list. What is this access control method called? A. 802.1.x authentication. B. Captive portal authentication. C. MAC address. Filtering. D. WPA3 enterprise. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. C. MAC address filtering. Explanation. Option C is correct because MAC address filtering is a security measure that restricts network access to only those devices whose MAC addresses are on a pre-approved list. While it is not a strong security control on its own, as MACs can be spoofed, it provides a basic layer of access control. Option A, 802.1 EVISX authentication, is incorrect because it is a more robust, port-based authentication framework that typically uses credentials or certificates. Option B, captive portal authentication, is incorrect because it uses a web page for user login or agreement to terms. Option D, WPA3 Enterprise, is incorrect because it is a modern Wi-Fi security protocol that uses 802.1x for authentication. 34. A network administrator is configuring an access control list, ACL, on a router interface. The ACL has several specific permit and deny statements. What is the default behavior if a packet does not match any of the explicit statements in the ACL? A. The packet is permitted by default. B. The packet is logged and then permitted. C. The packet is denied by default due to an implicit deny all. D. The packet is forwarded to a default gateway specified in the ACL. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. The packet is denied by default due to an implicit deny all. Explanation. Option C is correct because nearly all firewall and router ACL implementations include an invisible, implicit deny all rule at the very end. This means if a packet does not match any of the explicitly configured rules, it will be dropped. This enforces a deny by default security posture. Option A, the packet is permitted by default, is incorrect and would be a highly insecure configuration. Option B, the packet is logged and then permitted, is incorrect. Option D, the packet is forwarded to a default gateway specified in the ACL, is incorrect because ACLs filter traffic, they do not define routing paths. 35. A company has a public-facing web server located in its DMZ. The internal corporate network is on a separate trusted zone. The firewall between the DMZ and the internal network is configured to allow the web server in the DMZ to initiate connections to a database server in the internal trusted zone on TCP port 1433. But it blocks all other traffic originating from the DMZ to the internal network. This configuration primarily demonstrates the security principle of A. Allowing all traffic and then denying specific exceptions. B. Implementing network segmentation and controlled access between zones. C. Relying on host-based firewalls only. D. Using a flat network topology for simplicity. Do you know the answer? Correct answer. B. Implementing network segmentation and controlled access between zones. Explanation. Option B is correct because the scenario describes a classic example of network segmentation, separating the network into a DMZ and a trusted internal zone, and then applying the principle of least privilege to control traffic flow between them. Only the specific required traffic is permitted. Option A, allowing all traffic and then denying specific exceptions, is incorrect because this describes a permit by default posture, which is the opposite of what is being done. Option C, relying on host-based firewalls only, is incorrect because the scenario explicitly describes a network firewall between the zones. Option D, using a flat network topology for simplicity, is incorrect because a segmented topology with a DMZ is the opposite of a flat network. (36) A company policy states that switch ports connected to end-user workstations should automatically disable themselves if more than one MAC address is detected on the port to prevent users from connecting unauthorized hubs or additional devices. Which switch security feature would be configured to enforce this? A. Dynamic ARP inspection. DAI. B. DHCP snooping. C. Port security with a maximum MAC address count of 1 and a shutdown violation mode. D. 802.1n6 authentication. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. Port security with a maximum MAC address, count of 1, and a shutdown violation mode. Explanation. Option C is correct because port security is the specific switch feature designed for this purpose. It can be configured with a maximum MAC address limit, set to 1, and a violation action, shutdown, to disable the port if an unauthorized device is connected. Option A, Dynamic ARP inspection, DAI, is incorrect because it is used to prevent ARP spoofing attacks. Option B, DHCP snooping, is incorrect because it is used to prevent rogue DHCP servers. Option D, 802.1x authentication, is incorrect because it is a port-based authentication framework, not but a MAC address limiting feature. 37. When two parties communicate using asymmetric encryption, public key cryptography, to exchange a secret key for a symmetric encryption session, for example in TLS-SSL, what is the role of the recipient's public key? A. To encrypt the secret session key, so only the recipient can decrypt it with their private key. B. To decrypt the secret session key sent by the sender. C. To digitally sign the session key for integrity. D. To act as the shared secret key for the symmetric encryption session itself. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. A. To encrypt the secret session key, so only the recipient can decrypt it with their private key. Explanation. Option A is correct because this is a fundamental principle of public key cryptography. A message, in this case, the session key, encrypted with a recipient's public key can only be decrypted by the corresponding private key, which only the recipient possesses. This ensures the confidentiality of the key exchange. Option B, to decrypt the secret session key sent by the sender, is incorrect because a public key cannot decrypt messages encrypted by itself. Option C, to digitally sign the session key for integrity, is incorrect because signing is done with the sender's private key. Option D, to act as the shared secret key for the symmetric encryption session itself, is incorrect because the public/private key pair is used for the initial asymmetric exchange, not for the subsequent symmetric encryption. 38. An organization has a policy requiring employees who travel or work remotely to ensure that sensitive company data on their laptops is protected even if the laptop is lost or stolen. Which security measure best addresses protecting the confidentiality of data stored on the laptop's hard drive in such a scenario? A. Using a strong screensaver password. B. Implementing full disk encryption. FDE. Regularly backing up data to a secure cloud server. D. Installing an anti-malware solution. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. B. Implementing full disk encryption via FDE. Explanation. Option B is correct because full disk encryption, DE, encrypts the entire contents of the storage drive. If the laptop is lost or stolen, the data on the drive is unreadable without the correct decryption key or password, thus effectively protecting its confidentiality. Option A, using a strong screensaver password, is incorrect because it only protects the logged-in session and can be easily bypassed if the drive is removed. Option C, regularly backing up data to a secure cloud server, is incorrect because while it protects against data loss, it does not protect the sensitive data on the stolen device. Option D, installing an anti-malware solution, is incorrect because it protects against malicious software, not against data access from a physically compromised device. 39. An attacker successfully compromises a user's workstation. They then use that workstation as a pivot point to launch attacks against other servers and devices within the internal corporate network, to which the workstation has legitimate access. This technique of using a compromised system to attack other internal systems is known as A. Lateral movement, B. A watering hole attack, C. A brute force attack, D. Command and control, C2. Communication. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, A. Lateral movement. Explanation. Option A is correct because lateral movement is the set of techniques attackers use to explore a network and move from a compromised host to other systems within the same network. This allows them to escalate privileges and find high-value targets. Option B, a watering hole attack, is incorrect because it is a technique for initial compromise, where an attacker infects a website frequented by their targets. Option C, a brute force attack, is incorrect because it is a method of guessing credentials. Option D, command and control, C2, communication, is incorrect because it is the communication channel an attacker uses to control a compromised system, not the act of moving to other systems. (40) A user receives an urgent SMS message on their phone, supposedly from their bank, warning of suspicious activity and asking them to click a link and log in to confirm their identity. The link leads to a fake banking website. What is this type of attack called? A. Vishing, B. Spear phishing, C. Farming, D. Smishing. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, D. Smishing. Explanation. Option D is correct because smishing is a specific type of phishing attack that is conducted via SMS, text messages. The name is a portmanteau of SMS and phishing. Option A, vishing, is incorrect because it is phishing conducted over voice calls. Option B, spear phishing, is incorrect because it refers to a highly targeted email phishing attack. Option C, Tulom farming, is incorrect because it involves the technical redirection of users to fake sites, typically via DNS manipulation, not a link in a message. 41. A company is configuring its firewall to control traffic between its internal network, the DMZ, and the Internet. The firewall evaluates rules in a specific order. If a packet matches a rule, the action in that rule, permit or deny, is taken, and no further rules are typically processed for that packet. This behavior is an example of A. Stateful packet inspection, B. First match rule processing, C. Deep packet inspection, D. Round-robin rule processing. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. First match rule processing. Explanation. Option B is correct because firewalls process their rule sets sequentially from top to bottom. The first rule that a packet matches determines its fate, permit or deny, and rule processing for that packet stops. This is known as first match logic. Option A, stateful packet inspection, is incorrect because it is a technique for tracking connection states, not the order of rule processing. Option C, deep packet inspection, is incorrect because it is a technique for examining the payload of packets. Option D, round-robin rule processing, is incorrect because it is not a standard method for processing firewall rules. (42) To prevent unauthorized devices from simply plugging into an open network jack in a conference room and gaining access to the corporate network, a company decides to implement a security measure that requires any device connecting to a switch port to first authenticate itself using a username, password, or a digital certificate, often verified by a Radius server. What is this port-based authentication standard? A. MAC address filtering. B. IEEE 802.1. X, C. Spanning. Non-tree protocol. STP. D. Link aggregation control protocol. LACP. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. IE 802.1 X. Explanation. Option B is correct because IEEE 802.1 X is the standard for port-based network access control, NAC. It provides a robust framework for authenticating devices before they are granted access to the network, preventing unauthorized connections. Option A, MAC address filtering, is incorrect because it is a less secure method that relies on a static list of MAC addresses. Option C, spanning tree protocol, STP, is incorrect because it is a protocol to prevent loops in a switched network. Option D, link aggregation control protocol, LACP, is incorrect because it is a protocol for bundling multiple physical links into a single logical one. 43. Which element of the CIA triad ensures that the data has not been altered or tampered with in an unauthorized manner, and that it is accurate and complete? A. Confidentiality. B. Integrity. C. Availability. D. Authentication. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. Integrity. Explanation. Option B is correct because integrity is the pillar of the CIA triad that is concerned with the accuracy and trustworthiness of data. It ensures that data is not modified in an unauthorized or improper way. Option A, confidentiality, is incorrect because it is concerned with preventing the unauthorized disclosure of data. Option C, availability, is incorrect because it is concerned with ensuring that data and services are accessible when needed. Option D, authentication, is incorrect because it is a process to verify identity, which supports the CIA triad but is not one of its core components. 44. A company needs to provide secure remote access for its employees to the internal network. They decide to use a technology that creates an encrypted tunnel over the public internet between the employee's remote device and the company's VPN gateway. The data transiting this tunnel is protected from eavesdropping. This protection of data as it travels across the network is referred to as securing. A. Data at rest. B. Data in use. C. Data in transit. D. Data in backup. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer. C. Data in transit. Explanation. Option C is correct because data in transit, or data in motion, is data that is actively moving across a network. Securing this data, typically with encryption protocols like TLS or IPsec as used in a VPN, protects it from interception and eavesdropping. Option A, data at rest, is incorrect because it refers to data stored on a hard drive or other media. Option B, data in use, is incorrect because it refers to data currently being processed in a computer's memory. Option D, data in backup, is incorrect because it is a specific form of data at rest. 45. A user inadvertently clicks on a malicious email attachment that installs software on their computer without their knowledge. This software then silently records all of the user's keystrokes, including passwords and credit card numbers, and sends this information to an attacker. What type of malware is most likely involved? A, a worm, B, adware, C, a keylogger, often part of spyware or a Trojan, D, ransomware. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, C, a keylogger, often part of spyware or a Trojan. Explanation. Option C is correct because a keylogger is a type of malware specifically designed to record and steal a user's keystrokes. This is a common method for attackers to capture sensitive information like passwords and financial details. Option A worm, is incorrect because it is a type of malware that self-replicates and spreads across networks. Option B, adware, is incorrect because its purpose is to display unwanted advertisements. Option D, ransomware, is incorrect because its purpose is to encrypt a user's files and demand a ransom. 46. A company's security policy mandates that all default administrator password calls on new network devices, routers, switches, firewalls, APs, must be changed immediately upon installation. What is the primary security risk this policy aims to mitigate? A, prevents physical theft of the devices. B, reduces the likelihood of successful brute force attacks using known default credentials. C, ensures devices receive the latest firmware updates automatically. D, complies with data encryption standards for data at rest. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer. B, reduces the likelihood of successful brute force attacks using known default credentials. Explanation. Option B is correct because manufacturers' default credentials are publicly known and are among the first things an attacker will try when attempting to compromise a device. Changing them immediately upon installation is a fundamental hardening step that closes this very common and easily exploited vulnerability. Option A, prevents physical theft of the devices, is incorrect because password changes do not affect physical security. Option C, ensures devices receive the latest firmware updates automatically, is incorrect because password policy is unrelated to the firmware update process. Option D, complies with data encryption standards for data at rest, is incorrect because administrative passwords are for access control, not data at rest encryption. 47. A network is divided into several zones: an untrusted zone, Internet, a DMZ for public servers, and a trusted zone, internal corporate network. Firewalls are placed between these zones. The security policy for the firewall between the DMZ and the trusted internal network should generally be: A, permit all traffic from DMZ to trusted, deny all from trusted to DMZ, B, deny all traffic by default, and only permit specific, necessary, and well-defined connections from the DMZ to the trusted zone. C, permit all traffic in both directions to ensure full functionality. D, only allow HTTP and HTTPS traffic from DMZ to trusted. Do you know the answer? Correct answer, B. Deny all traffic by default, and only permit specific, necessary, and well-defined connections from the DMZ to the trusted zone. Explanation. Option B is correct because this aligns with the security principle of least privilege. The firewall should operate on a deny by default basis, and only explicit, well-defined rules should be created to permit the absolute minimum traffic required for services to function. For example, allowing a web server in the DMZ to talk to a database server in the trusted zone. Option A. Permit all traffic from DMZ to trusted, deny all from trusted to DMZ, is incorrect because it is dangerously permissive. Option C. Permit all traffic in both directions to ensure full functionality, is incorrect because it would completely negate the security benefit of having a DMZ. Option D. Only allow HTTP and HTTPS traffic from DMZ to trusted, is incorrect because it is too generic. The rule should be specific to the source and destination hosts and ports needed. 48. A company uses TIA Plus for centralized authentication of network administrators accessing routers and switches. When an administrator logs into a device, TIA Plus handles both verifying their identity and determining what commands they are allowed to execute on that device. The process of determining allowed commands is an example of A. Accounting, B. Authorization, C. Authentication, D. Auditing. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, B. Authorization. Explanation. Option B is correct because authorization is the step that determines what an authenticated user is permitted to do. In TIA Plus, after a user is authenticated, the server can provide a detailed set of permissions, including which specific commands they are allowed to run on the device. Option A, accounting, is incorrect because it is the process of logging what the user did. Option C, authentication, is incorrect because it is the process of verifying the user's identity. Option D, auditing, is incorrect because it is the process of reviewing logs and security controls. (49) An attacker discovers that a company's external DNS server is vulnerable and manages to change the A record for the company's main website, www.company.com, to point to an IP address controlled by the attacker. As a result, users attempting to visit www.company.com are directed to the attacker's malicious site. This specific act of illicitly modifying DNS records on an authoritative server is a form of A. DNS reflection, amplification attack, B. DNS hijacking, or authoritative DNS server compromise, C. DNS tunneling, D. Fast flux DNS. What do you think is the answer? Correct answer, B. DNS hijacking, or authoritative DNS server compromise. Explanation. Option B is correct because DNS hijacking refers to the unauthorized modification of DNS records. Compromising the authoritative DNS server for a domain to change its records is a direct and powerful form of DNS hijacking. Option A, DNS reflection amplification attack, is incorrect because it is a type of DDoS attack that uses DNS servers to amplify traffic, not to modify records. Option C, DNS tunneling, is incorrect because it is a technique for data exfiltration using DNS queries. Option D, fast flux DNS, is incorrect because it is a technique used by botnets to rapidly change DNS records to hide their infrastructure. 50. A company uses digital certificates for various purposes, including securing its web servers, HTTPS, and for client authentication, 802.1x. The process of creating the public-private key pairs, requesting certificates from a CA, installing them, and renewing them before they expire, is collectively known as A. Key escrow, B. Certificate revocation, C. Key and certificate management, D. Symmetric key exchange. Can you guess the answer? Correct answer, C. Key and certificate management. Explanation. Option C is correct because key and certificate management is the comprehensive term for the entire lifecycle of cryptographic keys and their associated digital certificates. This includes generation, issuance, deployment, usage, renewal, and eventual revocation. Option A, key escrow, is incorrect because it is the specific practice of storing a copy of a private key with a trusted third party. Option B, certificate revocation, is incorrect because it is the specific act of invalidating a certificate before its expiration date. Option D, symmetric key exchange, is incorrect because it is a process for establishing a shared secret key, often as one part of a larger cryptographic protocol. You have reached the end of our question set. For the complete exam preparation experience, visit us at MyITCerts.com, where you find thousands more practice questions and comprehensive study guides. You can study completely free using our study materials and questions, and ace your exams with confidence. Thank you for studying with us today. See you in the next video.